What?
Dumb and Dumber.
From Dumb and Dumber.
Oh. On tonight's episode of Rabbit Troop Sucks, Paul and Mike recite Dumb and Dumber.
Well, I think that just brings us back to exactly where we need to be. Boom, we're back in. You didn't think we were gonna come in with real movie suggestions? Well, maybe we did. Maybe we didn't. Well, welcome back to Rabbit Troop Sucks. A couple days after Valentine's Day, hopefully all of your hearts are filled with glee and not broken and shattered and tattered, because we're here with 1999's She's All That. 25 years after the fact, are we going to learn if she's still all that? Was she ever all that? I don't know. I could sense Mike's vibes next to me. It's making me think she's not all that.
What kind of vibes do you think I have over here?
Fun vibes.
Okay.
Lots of. Well, as always, my name is Paul. Next to me is Mike.
Hi.
Next to Mike is Lamar.
Hey.
And next to Lamar and me is Collin.
Hey.
Oh, wow. How's that even possible?
Collin seems flustered and yes. But yeah, we're going to look at the movie She's All That. So we're a podcast about obscure, forgotten about, and often overlooked films, and that's fitting the bill. Often overlooked films. I am the only person in the room who's seen She's All That. So often overlooked, and my argument to the three gentlemen who are next to me is this movie is just a definitive 90s rom-com that, like or dislike, as this movie we will critique, regardless, there are so many notable people like in this film. I mean, it's bananas how many notable people are in this film. I mean, you will all agree on that, at least, right?
Many,
Yeah, for sure.
much notable. Yes.
All the notes have been noted and checked in. Yes, we got a lot on this cast. We have Freddie Prinze Jr. as your lead. We have Rachael Leigh Cook. We have Matthew Lillard back for our fourth movie that contains Matthew Lillard. Paul Walker, Kevin Pollak. We got Anna Paquin. We got Kieran Culkin. We got Lil Kim. We got Dulé Hill.
Usher.
We got Usher. We have so
Usher.
many people. I mean, that's insane.
Usher
that's
and
insane.
that other girl from the faculty.
Yeah, Clea DuVall.
Yeah.
So two members of the faculty, which is a movie we did same year, 1999.
Wow. Busy year for them.
It was a year that happened. It definitely is.
Did they just film those two movies concurrently? Is it the same school?
Wow.
That's interesting.
Is it? Because I feel like that I made that up.
I mean, it could be.
Okay.
Rabbit Troop Sucks churns out the trivia here. You know, if you want to believe it or not.
It is the same high school from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Is that true?
Correct. Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have so many notable people. So, yes, as I noted, we get Matthew Lillard as Brock Hudson, and we have reviewed several films with him. Wing Commander is one of them. Without a Paddle is one of them.
My
and
favorite movie.
Mike's absolute favorite, Dead Man on Campus. Or, I'm sorry.
Dead Man's Curve.
Yeah, Dead Man's Curve. So, Good Times. Rachael Leigh Cook, notably in this film, clearly like a groundbreaking one. She is also in Nancy Drew. I wanted to note that. I saw the Nancy Drew movie. It came out in 2007. I love that movie. I'm not joking when I say that. That was like a surprise, like family fun Halloween movie I saw. Freddie Prinze Jr., as we have also noted, also in Wing Commander. Scooby-Doo, I Know What You Did Last Summer, many things. Paul Walker, plays Dean Sampson. Rest in peace, Paul Walker, 2013. Most notably known from the Fast and Furious franchise, also Varsity Blues.
Well, it's 2013. Wow.
Yeah. Well, when he passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. It's been so long.
Yeah. Kevin Pollak, we did End of Days not too long ago from 1999. He plays Laney's dad, who's Rachael Leigh Cook. Anna Paquin, I mean, known X-Men, True Blood. Kieran Culkin, Home Alone, Succession, Scott Pilgrim. Elden Henson is in Daredevil and Mighty Ducks. Lil Kim. It's just Lil Kim. Dulé Hill, I could go on the rant all day of you are all wrong for canceling the Wonder Years, the reboot, and Dulé Hill is better than all of you. Dulé Hill is in this movie. I love Dulé Hill. And then we have some other people. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, I just have to know. That is just like an insane cast.
There's a picture of Bonnie Bedelia.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, there is a picture. And
there's cameos in this movie too.
yeah, and that's the crazy thing. And with a movie like this, or I should say this, a cast list like this, a lot of these people were kids and they're up and coming, but you see a lot of movies that are often like, I don't know, like side stories, and you would think like, oh, there's 20 people that are notable in a cast, and they're all gonna have they have one part there and one part there. No, everyone's meshed in. This is just like one universal story, clearly based on Pygmalion.
Clearly.
I mean, are you unaware of this story?
No, I am.
I just feel like that story is like so. My Fair Lady is based on this, but this is like the story of like every teen movie, like. I know this is not the most popular one here. George Bernard Shaw of his time wrote something that has just been done and done and done in the teen movies, and it's like the ugly duckling who becomes the not so ugly duckling. Can't Buy Me Love is super like this. I mean, there's tons of 80s movies like this. So I never read Pygmalion, but I am very aware of the story just because it's really connected to so many 80s and 90s tropes. But yeah, this movie is just full of people.
It is. It is full of people.
I think this movie escaped me because this is a time period where movies in general escaped me, the late 90s and early 2000s. And I feel like that's our wheelhouse. We have a lot of movies that we review in this era that I personally missed during this time. And I'm glad we're going back and watching them.
I know it's kind of crazy, Lamar. We work together, and sometimes we would see movies after work. But sometimes.
This is around the time period where I met you.
I know.
And, when I met you, we saw a lot of movies together. I feel like we probably would have, if I met you maybe 2 years earlier, we would have saw this movie in the Cherry Creek Mall Theater.
Mm.
Well, this movie came out in 1999. I actually did meet you and knew you at this time.
Yeah, we didn't start going out to movies for another couple months, so we just missed this.
Oh, you got it down
maybe.
To the months.
Yeah, oh, wow. I mean, I remember watching Election.
Yeah, with you. I hope we do elections sometime. I always think about election coming up, and it's an election year. It seems pretty apropos that we would do that. But yeah, I mean, this was definitely a time where we would see movies. I did not see this movie in the theater, although I'm the only one who saw this. I probably saw it, I'm guessing, about a year after the fact on HBO, or maybe it was checked out from the local Blockbuster. Who knows? I definitely saw it by about 2000, but I did not see this in the theater.
Yeah, and I didn't see it at all. So this movie wasn't so much overlooked by me. It was I just actively avoided it, I think, when it came out.
I can understand why. I mean, unless you're down for that hardcore teen movie, I don't see the appeal of.
It didn't look appealing to me at all when it came out.
Does it appeal to you more now?
I mean, I did enjoy it. I got some chuckles out of it.
I think a lot of teen movies around that time were like this. They came out and you're like, I'm not interested. Yeah. But if you really watch it, sit down, maybe there's some parts of it that are, they're all right.
Yeah.
I feel for me, I wouldn't always go to the theater to see a teen movie or a college movie, which are very kind of similar. Every now and then, Lamar and I saw American Pie in the theater. That would be a rarity, but I just wouldn't see anything. But I absolutely love teen and college movies at home. You throw that on, if it's on HBO, this is the movie equivalent of a bowl of ice cream. You don't have to think too much about it. You're probably going to note a couple cast members you've seen before. Nothing is too complex. You go on with your life. I love it. And this rom-com fits that bill for me. Like
a little comfy movie where if you have a bad day or something, or you just want something in the background, pretty nice for that.
I like it.
Do you think this came out before 10 Things I Hate About You? They both came out in 99.
I'm on it.
Oh.
I think they both came down to 99.
We are shaving things down to the month in 99.
Collin, do you think these are rival films? Is this why you're asking?
Yeah, this is why I'm thinking. We could have done them back to back the way we did Dead Man on Campus and The Curve.
Wow.
Yeah.
So 99 was just a rivalry month for teen movies.
You had to unleash. I mean, it was going to become the year 2000. Everyone thought Y2K was going to ruin the world. You had to get every teen movie out in the world before there were no more teen movies.
That's
or
true.
Teens.
Oh, yeah. Get them in there.
So, 10 Things I Hate About You was in the lead to be prom queen, and then we had to transform She's All That into the beauty that it could be.
Nice.
10 Things I Hate About You, March 31st. She's All That, January 29th.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
So very close. So, I mean, there might have even been some overlap.
You may have gone to the theater one day and saw both films. Can you even imagine living in that way? You can see 2 movies in a day. How can I do that with today's technology?
Crazy.
Well, let's jump into maybe a summary. I was about to just jump into things. A high school jock makes a bet that he could turn an unattractive girl into the school's prom queen. And that's the story of Pygmalion. Pygmalion is a gentleman's bet between 2 people. And in Pygmalion, it's taking someone of a much lower class. I believe it's like some flower woman who has a Cockney accent.
Yeah.
And changing that and the wardrobe and various other things.
Yeah, My Fair Lady is the same story, and probably maybe a more familiar name to a lot of folks.
Yeah, My Fair Lady is just the musical version of Pygmalion that came out. Yeah, and this is, the updated version. And so I do kind of understand this old-timey story and, changing someone's voice and changing someone's class. But the craziest thing about this movie is, it's very little bit about class. Almost no one brings it up. I mean, they do sometimes, but, barely.
Yeah, I mean, they mentioned that Laney's, her family's poor, but they're absolutely not, because they live in a huge house with a pool.
Yeah.
And did that even makes the point that they're not poor?
Right, yeah. I own my own business. We're pretty good.
Right, I love the dad. Kevin Pollak was
Yeah.
one of the reasons that I wanted to do this movie. It was brought up when we were doing End of Days. But, there is a point where, the antagonist, Taylor Vaughn, is like, doesn't your dad clean my pool? And Laney's like, I wouldn't know. But also, who cares?
Yeah.
They live in a really nice house.
Does your dad do my taxes? Who gives a fuck?
Right, yeah, exactly. My dad has a really sweet job. And if you're cleaning pools and you're pulling in that kind of income, bravo, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That seems great.
I think part of the problem with showing a class system is that it's all happening in Beverly Hills, and everybody there is just rich. It doesn't matter what you're doing.
Yeah, you're the lower end of rich.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that it was a class thing, rich versus poor. I thought they were trying to do a jock versus nerd thing.
That could be it
Yeah.
too. It's impossible to do a rich versus poor in Beverly Hills when everybody's just has that money. So I think that's part of the just a higher class of personality versus.
Yeah, I mean, outside of Taylor, does anyone say anything? No. Even on the side?
I don't think anyone
Yeah,
does.
I don't think anyone says anything about, Laney's background, or who's Rachael Leigh Cook. I don't think they say anything, just her.
Yeah.
And it's just that one scene.
Right.
All right.
I think it's just the way she dresses and the way she acts.
Yeah, they make a big deal out of we're changing this person, but she starts off hot and then she gets contact lenses.
I told my wife, I was like, not that it was out of control. I was like, the best thing that happens to Rachael Leigh Cook's character, Laney Boggs, is she gets a haircut. She just had an over lengthy hair that just wasn't cut for a while. And
I
then
liked
someone's
her hair before.
Yeah,
I mean,
fine.
That's what I'm saying. It was fine.
The
Yeah,
unibrow going away was a strong move. I was fine with that. But I thought she was better looking before with the paint covered over.
I find that's the case with most
That's
of,
where I'm at, yeah.
of these Pygmalion changeovers. Is they were all right before. What I mean, come on. But I understand the changeover. You're trying to change them into a different system, so you got to go all out and just.
I like the bold move. They also took off her glasses. I was like,
That was.
I was like,
Right away too. Was she just? Did she get contacts, or was she just going without?
She said earlier that she already had contacts.
Oh, I missed that. Okay.
yeah,
Because it seemed like a pretty.
But
quick
she
turnaround.
can't imagine doing anything in her eye. So she has them, but doesn't and fears them.
Yeah.
Yeah, eye stuff is rough at first.
It is.
Yes.
Gotta do something to his eyes.
When Lamar got contacts, I showed him how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I did it right in front of him. I was like, I've been there. I'm going to do this right in front of you. Bam, right in my eye. He was like, And I was like, yeah, I know. It took me a long time.
Remember when I was getting contacts my first day in the I'm pretty sure this is not a unique case. I'm pretty sure a lot of people gone through this, but in the doctor's office, they're trying to teach me how to put them in, and damn took like 30 minutes
Yeah.
for me.
Oh, it took me forever.
I was like, what the hell? But, it's one of those things. You get used to it.
Yeah, I think like when my doctor was doing that, he's like looking at his phone. He's like, "You'll get it. Just let me know what's on there." All right.
But, yeah, what, 15% of the movie she's wearing the glasses? And the rest of the movie, she's not, I want to say.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there for this quote unquote massive transformation. We basically learn that Laney Boggs is living with her father. She is a senior in high school. She has a brother named Simon, who's Kieran Culkin. Her father is Kevin Pollak. We'll learn soon or throughout the movie that mom unfortunately passed away due to cancer. There's kind of an underlying thread that dad's basically trying to do his best, but this has really kind of shattered the family in certain ways. Laney specifically is a little more withdrawn. She doesn't really have a lot of friends. Her friends, she has one friend named Jesse, but beyond that, just really keeps to herself, works, keeps to her family, does art, doesn't really like people, and it really kind of stems from her mom's tragic death and her life changing from that. Everyone at school thinks she's like a big weirdo.
In all fairness,
angry.
she is a big fucking weirdo. Her shitty, I don't know, what was it? Mogadishu decoupage that she's making at the beginning.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's all, yeah.
And it's not a deal-breaking level of weirdness
No.
either. Everyone's totally fine with her.
Yeah, no one gives a shit about her.
Yeah.
They just think she's weird.
Yeah, and we meet Freddie Prinze Jr. soon after that. We're at school. We're back from spring break. Freddie Prinze Jr., Zach Siler, everyone loves this guy. He walks in, and this is actually, I feel, a little uncharacteristic. He, too, is going through a change, which is, part of the story. But he sees that he's the school president. Well, he is the school president. He parks, and he walks in, and there's a framed picture of the school president, which I guess kind of makes sense if you're at a school. Maybe that's like the prestigious thing.
That seems really weird.
It just might be like maybe the prestigious thing. Like, we took a picture of you. We let people know.
This is some bougie Beverly Hills.
Yeah,
shit.
I mean, like, I didn't go to a school like this.
He has
Like,
his own parking spot, too. It's
Yeah.
student body for
I
others.
also don't think that happened at my school or in any capacity. But he's also like admiring the picture of himself. He's like, I'm the big man on campus. And this is quickly taken away from him. He meets up with his friends. We get Dulé Hill, who's Preston, and we get Paul Walker, who's Dean. And they're like, hey, buddies. And they're like all talking. And soon, some of their girlfriends start showing up. And Zach is asking about Taylor. And everyone's pretty aloof about this. And she comes in and she's like, oh, I got Coke breath. Like, I need some gum. And then quickly turns around and says she's done with him and breaks up.
Well, there you have it.
That's horrible.
That's how breakups happen
Yeah.
in high school.
Is Coke breath a real thing? What does that
I
mean?
don't know. I need to drink Coke.
All right.
That's what I took away from it.
Maybe like her sinuses are so damaged from cocaine that now it's just bleeding down the back of her throat, and that's what
Maybe.
she's saying. She's like, the back of my throat is melting.
A real fun spring break.
Yeah.
It was a spring break to never forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone's like, that's a really quick breakup. So quickly, this idea is brought up like, she broke up with you. You got to move on. And Zach, again, Freddie Prinze Jr., he's like, this is all a charade. This is all, this is a fake. We live in the Matrix and this BS. And Dean's like, no, it's not, bro. And he's like, yeah. Side note, Paul Walker is a terrible actor all throughout this film. I always feel bad saying that. I've said that about all the films. Like, Paul Walker is not a good actor, but I always read that he was like such a nice dude, and he died on the way to a charitable event, like how in a car.
He was just too fast and furious.
He was. But yeah, so a bet comes up really quickly.
One of my notes says rectal archaeology.
Yeah.
What? Can anyone fill in the blanks there?
Mike, you were looking up a different movie.
I see.
There's a lot of quotes like that
was-
where I
she's
wrote it
in
down
that?
like that.
I think Paul Walker said it. I don't remember,
Something like that.
remember
Yeah.
the context. Okay.
Just in quotes,
Yeah.
rectal archaeology.
Okay.
Oh, it was they were scoping out girls that Zach was going to transform, and one girl was like had a wedgie or something, so she was like,
Oh, I see.
adjusting.
Okay, so
adjusting her
she was
pants.
down there getting. Okay.
Yeah.
That
I
makes
see.
sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, then they land on Laney Boggs,
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my gosh, she's got glasses and a ponytail, paint covered overalls. There's no way, guys.
Yeah, there's one scene we skipped over that we established a little more that Laney is like the weirdo. She's in her art class with Clea DuVall, who is also in the faculty. Clea DuVall is Misty. And Clea DuVall is highlight to my wife. She's like, Clea DuVall is painting a clown. Just note this in the background. I was in this little payoff later. I was like, I did not know that. But then she goes up to Laney like a huge asshole and is like, I went to Spain and my family's rich and we met artists and we do all these things and you suck. And Collin pointed out really quick, she says straight up like, you know how you'd improve your art? You just kill yourself. I'm like, oh my God. This woman's terrible. I do like Clea DuVall, but her character is just terrible.
I didn't realize that was Misty.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because Misty will come up later, and I honestly feel Misty is worse than Taylor in this film. Like this character just said, "Go kill yourself." Like what a I don't know. It was 1999. I know in the 2020s and above, like there's no way someone would just get away with saying that. Like that's craziness.
That's crazy.
I think Misty stole some of Taylor's dialogue there. That would have made Taylor a bigger villain in this movie.
Yes. But yeah, now we're at the bat, and Mike, we skipped over one of my favorite quotes Freddie Prinze Jr. has throughout the whole movie. Do you have a quote on this at all?
Is it? I have bumpin' monkeys.
Oh, it's bum monkeys.
Bum monkeys.
Yeah.
I misheard.
Yeah, he said there's 2,000 girls in this school, and I could bum monkeys with all of them.
You don't think it's bump monkeys?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I mean, bump monkeys makes more sense.
Does it?
I think it's yeah.
I mean, in so much as none of it does.
Yeah. And all the crazy things that they say.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's scripts. I'll pull up a script.
Okay.
Yes, but yes,
They're doing something with those monkeys.
Yeah, they come up. Yeah, they come up with a bet, and it's to transform Laney Boggs, Rachael Leigh Cook, into the prom queen. That they have 6 weeks until prom, and she has to win prom queen. And we don't know really what the terms of the bet are.
She has to win prom queen.
Well, what does Dean get? I know what happens if Zach loses.
I didn't get what
thought he would do the
the
same.
terms were. I just knew there was a bet and I zoned out.
Oh, yeah, Collin, you think it would be Zach would have to do this?
Dean would have to do it.
Dean, yeah,
Zach
Dean,
won.
okay.
Kind of makes sense.
Okay.
And why
yeah.
not?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so Zach immediately goes up to Laney, and Laney wants nothing to do with him.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of comes up like a chat. I mean, Zach
he
kind
is-
of plays
he
the
is a
chat. He's the chat. But he kind of portrayed like the douchey chat in this 5-minute montage of introduction of characters. It's like, I don't like any of these people when I first meet them. I just hate the whole Beverly Hills teen scene. Like the first 5-10 minutes of this movie was not hitting me at all. I was zoning out through most of it.
It's these fucking Hollywood kids, man.
It's the Hollywood kids. They kind of just, I don't know. So it's hard to follow in the beginning, but it had enough to realize what was going on.
Yeah.
According to this random thing I found on the internet, it is I can bump monkeys with every one of them.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
So monkeys is a catch-all for both male and female genitals.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Damn it.
Nah, the 90s were a simpler time.
They were.
People were just bumping monkeys.
Bumping monkeys all over the place.
So,
I mean, now we have to do Safe Monkey.
I feel like this is
Yeah.
maybe an early... I feel like there's going to be several more of these what the fuck did they say?
I'll bet those were all Shyamalan lines.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about. So M. Night Shyamalan went by a different name, but it turned out he was one of the editors of the script. So he's not one of the creators of the screenplay or the story or anything, but he made some edits apparently, and later that was known. And I don't know how much or where, but I can say this is his best work.
That's accurate.
oh, nice.
Yeah.
High praise.
Best movie he's been a part of.
I do like The Sixth Sense. My conspiracy theory with The Sixth Sense is the studio controlled more of that because they're probably like, you're a first-time director. Like, I don't trust you. And I'm like, yes, studio. that paid off well for that studio to not trust him.
The problem with The Sixth Sense is once you get to like the twist, it makes the rest of the movie not make sense. And we don't have to get into that. I'm just saying.
I kind of want to talk about that later. We'll talk about that off air.
Okay.
That's the M. Night Shyamalan twist.
There you go.
You guys don't get to hear it.
That's the twist.
You charge them $100 for the special conversation
Yeah,
about
sign
that.
up to our Patreon. And then by that, I just mean Venmo me money.
You can hear our weirdo conversation
Yeah.
about how the Sixth Sense just went off the rails.
Yeah.
Right on.
We do find out that when Zach is broken up with by Taylor, that it is for Brock Hudson, who is Matthew Lillard, who is a MTV Real World star.
So is he supposed to be like Puck?
Yes.
Okay.
That's exactly who he's supposed to be.
Okay. That's the one name from Real World that I know.
Yeah, like an over-the-top, egocentric a-hole who does the weirdest stuff and then thinks he's going to make a living off of that.
Mm-hmm.
You forget how big the real world was back then in the 90s.
We had one here.
Yeah.
Oh, if it's right.
Did anyone
That's
watch the
unfortunate.
Denver Real World?
No.
Nah, unfortunately not.
I mean, I think literally no one did.
There was like a comedian who was from Colorado who was on like one of those shows. Like Dan Soder was in like the House one or Real World or something like that. It doesn't matter. None of this matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we basically get a cut. We're still learning who all these people are in this movie. Again, there's a huge list of people. Zach goes home, and he's with his sister, Mackenzie, also goes by Mac, and that is Anna Paquin. She says something to him. I don't really remember.
None of this is
And who else we got? We also got Laney going to her job.
Oh, at a falafel on a stick or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She works at a falafel house.
Yeah. She's got a falafel hat. Some old guy tells her to supersize his balls.
Yeah. And we also have a moment of Zach at his own house where his dad is one of the actors from Animal House. I don't remember the actor's name. He's very brief part in this, like really 2 scenes, I think. And he's concerned that Zach has not received any of these high-end college applications, especially from Dartmouth.
He's a Dartmouth man.
Yeah. Here's a big problem I do have with this movie. This relationship is not fleshed out at all.
Oh, yeah.
The dad is supposed to be like this overbearing father who's like, you need to go to Dartmouth. You need to live my life. My life was wonderful, and I want a replicant, and that's going to be you. Says Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yeah, none of that is shown.
But no, yeah,
I mean, in the 2 scenes his father is in, this one is pretty quick. The next one, his father is like super chill about everything.
right? Like,
Like-
I just want you to go to school.
Right.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay, sick.
His father's just kind of like a background, I don't want to say comedy figure because he has some funny lines later, but I don't think about his dad at all. It's just like, just back there.
Yeah.
Just a guy wanting his son to go to school.
Yeah. That's all.
Freddie Prinze style. I was in real life looking up what these celebrities are doing. Yeah. I could relate to Freddie Prinze Jr. Not in exactly what he was doing, but like what he would be doing in real life. So Freddie Prinze Jr. is married to Sarah Michelle Gellar. They've been married for decades. They have kids together. Sarah Michelle Gellar has a little cameo. You would all know Sarah Michelle Gellar as Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She has a little non-spoken cameo at a cafeteria in this movie. But when I was watching this movie, I was like, hey, what's going on? What are these two doing? And Sarah Michelle Gellar was at a Kylie Minogue concert hanging out with Kylie Minogue. And there's like a million photos of those two just like being friends and hanging out. Freddie Prinze Jr. was at home painting miniatures for Dungeons and Dragons. and that's I like the.
Did he have glasses and a ponytail?
He could have.
Does Sarah Michelle Gellar have to like clean him up for the prom?
That'd be maybe.
And in between probably painting his miniatures, I believe he was also writing for WWE at the time.
Yeah, Freddie Prinze Jr. also has
That's so phenomenal.
If
He's
you're
right.
listening to another podcast, the only one you should be listening to is his podcast, Freddie Prinze Jr.'s podcast about wrestling. Lamar, I can't remember. Have you listened to it?
I've heard about it, but I haven't heard it. I might have heard a clip too from another podcast. They're like, Freddie Prinze Jr. has a podcast. We're going to play a clip. I'm like, oh, wow. So I heard about it through them. and I know he has one. It's pretty interesting that he was into that scope of being a writer for WWE.
Yeah.
I had no idea until afterwards because I was a big fan at the time.
Yeah, that's got to be super fun.
It's probably the oddest job I could think of, just writing storylines for wrestlers.
Why not?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
It does. Just think what Freddie Prinze Jr. would write.
Well, Freddie
I
Prinze
can't even picture him doing that.
Freddie Prinze Jr. rolls up at this falafel house to get to know Laney Boggs a little better. This is kind of an interesting moment for this character for me because I rewatched this movie with you guys. Like I kind of like was watching it with my wife. We're doing some stuff and kind of had it in the background over about 2 nights. And I was keeping just some notes, and then I sat down and watched it with you guys again. And I really paid attention to this. So Freddie Prinze Jr. makes his bet, and now he's like really trying to win over Laney's affections. And I feel he absolutely is a different, I don't know how fully how to say this, a different character in a different movie. And like, hear me out. He is very serious now. And I find his character like super sincere now till the end of the movie.
Yeah, that's fair.
And like everyone else is like, hey bro, it's like prom and we're going to like high school stuff. And he is like not that person at all.
Right.
Like at all in this film.
At no point, anytime he talks to Laney, do you get the impression that he's like just kind of going through the motions or trying to win the bet. It all seems like he's pretty into her.
Yeah. And he should be. She's the most attractive person in this damn school. Makeover or not. What's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Right, yeah, so yeah, super weird. Yeah, but I just kept noticing that. And I actually feel Freddie Prinze Jr. is a pretty solid actor, like start to finish in this movie because of it. He seems pretty sincere. I buy his sincerity all throughout. He seems kind of conflicted. If anything fails for me, it's the storylines that go back and forth. And one of them was the one with his father. It's like my overbearing father who's just like, please go to school. You got in.
Right. Well, I mean, it was a teen movie. They couldn't just have all the parents be like cool and supportive.
Right. I mean, they just,
even though they were.
Right. But like, that's the thing. Like, they just did not write the father to be like overbearing. He's like, I really want you to go to school. You've been accepted to them.
Right.
He's like, you don't understand, Dad. They're paying. I got scholarships.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, I mean, that kind of thing made it really difficult to be sympathetic also, where it's like, oh, your life's so difficult. You got into Yale, Dartmouth, and Harvard. Like,
Yeah, boo-hoo, buddy.
This is one of my favorite moments, bringing us back to the falafel shop, though. That Laney's like, I don't know what your deal is, dude, but like, you think I'm some kind of nerd and I'm going to tutor you? And he's like, I have the 4th highest GPA in the school. And she looks at her friend Jesse, who is also in Daredevil, Mighty Ducks, isn't it? He's like, oh yeah, that like adds up. He's like a really smart dude. I do feel that was some good writing.
That was good.
Yeah, Zach's not a dummy throughout all this, which makes sense that he's not just intelligent, he's actually a little extra intelligent. And when he's sifting through and observing all of the things happening in high school, and he actually meets someone that he truly does like, he kind of realizes that everyone around him is a bozo and he's just getting out of this like kind of shithole high school.
Yeah.
And his girlfriend totally sucks. Like, I don't know why. I like, honestly, he seems like a smart dude. I don't know what his appeal to Taylor Vaughn would have been at any point.
I think it's just
Like,
he's in a position of power. He's a
it's
student
all
body
status,
president. It's the status that comes with it. Unfortunately, trash comes with it, and that's
Yeah.
what Taylor was.
I mean, she just seems like such a pill. I mean, she is not humorous. She's not nice.
Yeah.
Like, I personally don't find her character attractive.
And then she's queen of the Stacys,
Yeah.
pretty much.
It's our new band name.
Queen.
and I mean, I didn't really read it that she was that terrible to anyone else other than Laney, really only because she got in her way of.
Well,
probably
here's another storyline that like really we see, but it's like really not fleshed out. Her friends start to like Laney more too by the end of the movie. You could tell one of her friends is like even voting for her for prom queen, but they barely show that. So I kind of agree with you, Collin, but like I think there's like this undertone that like she's so self-centered that like she's not like a real friend to anyone, but like that's not super shown in this movie.
Yeah.
So here's like a weird thing. Like part of the trivia is there's a terrible dance scene that happens later, and the note on IMDb was this scene was used basically as filler. Like this movie's a little short, but like add this dance scene. But we've already talked about several things that could have been like improved story-wise. It could have just been done via dialogue, a conversation here or there.
Right. Throw in one more scene with the dad,
Mike. That's
rather
so
than
fun.
fucking a Fatboy Slim music video.
I that was my big one that I said Kevin Pollak was a little underutilized. There's a really sweet like father-daughter moment, and it's when he's like, people just think I'm a pool man. It's like at that moment. I was like, there could have been another one of these even later on. You just see him talking to Kieran Culkin, but it could have been like a 3-minute like he's really talking to him about like maybe something that happened with him and his wife, or like a father-son moment, like this is why you treat, you know, your significant other nicely, or like blah blah blah. But like dancing, Fatboy Slim dancing.
You know, piece of trivia, the most boring one. In every scene that Kevin Pollak was in, he was wearing a hat. So
That is mildly.
thanks IMDb.
Fire.
Yeah,
Probably the same clothes too.
I think it was the same hat.
I don't even recall him
Nah,
changing.
he changed.
Oh,
He
okay.
had his Dr. Pool thing, and
Dr.
he
Pool
wore
time.
a
That's
robe at
right.
the end. So
Yeah, he did have a robe. Yeah, good call.
I was paying close attention.
But did
You
you
were-
pay
you were
attention
really-
enough that wait, was it Collin who wrote in that he was wearing a hat?
Yeah, was that your? Did you enter that in while we were watching it?
I can't remember what movie we were doing. I think it was a movie for this podcast, but there was a piece of trivia on IMDb, and I'm going to make up like whatever the podcast is called. I'm going to make it up like We Love Pens. But it was like, this movie was rated by We Love Pens, the podcast. I was like, what? Like, it was like a podcast I've never heard of. I remember telling you this, Mike. It was well over a year ago.
No, I remember
But I was
this.
like, we should just now submit IMDb trivia. Like, everyone we do, like, this was reviewed on.
We should. One of us needs to get editing capabilities on Wikipedia and just start inserting us into every movie that we review.
Abraham Lincoln was known to love Robert Jerusalem. Yeah. What's going on?
So
They're at the falafel place.
yeah, Jesse is a true bro.
And yeah, gives up his tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah, to the weird art
show.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which there was plenty of seats left. He could have gone also.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
chose
sure.
not to go.
Yeah, he knew what he was getting.
for good reasons.
Oh, he chose. He chose correctly.
Yes.
Yes, and
My soul is an island.
Zach
My car is a
delightfully
Ford.
takes him up. I'm going to take that ticket and I'll meet you at this art show. And she's like, fine, you can meet me there. And then we get to said art show, and it is the artiest of art shows.
Yeah.
It is a performance piece, if I could say that. I guess I could say that.
Yes, you can.
They said it. So I'm going to say what they said. Some people are performing things. There's a big weirdo who sits next to Zach or kind of crouches down, and he's like, whoever the artist performing is, I'll make it like Steve. He's like, isn't Steve wonderful? He's such
He's a
an
visionary.
And I, while watching the movie, I looked at Lamar and I said, if we were there, I guarantee you that guy would have approached me and done that.
That's correct. He would
Yeah.
have left all of us alone.
I am a proven weirdo magnet, and so like
You're very accessible.
yeah, throughout time, I've joked like, if you go to Mike's show, like, don't approach me. I will be a shadow in the corner. It's kind of that reason that, for whatever reason, this is not an invitation or a dare, listeners. People just like to come up to me and say weird stuff. Not like brutal stuff, but like stuff like, he's a visionary.
You should just get one of your friends to show up 5 minutes late and walk up to you and say, "That's Mitch. He's brilliant."
That's what his name
And
was,
then,
Mitch.
and then no one else will creep on you because you're already getting creeped on by one of your friends.
That's true.
I remember I was listening to headphones on the bus, and this woman started like talking over the music on my headphones, and I was like, "Excuse me," and I took off my headphones, and she's like, "How was your Sunday?" And I didn't really know what to say.
Were you eating an ice cream sundae?
So funny, Mike, you say this.
Oh,
so,
wow.
So this was Monday. This was a Monday. And I was like, I guess it was okay. It was relaxing. And she goes, did you have nuts on it? So she was referencing that. And I was like, no. She's like, yeah.
No, she wasn't. She was referencing the day.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Now
It's
she
like-
aware you were having a Sunday previously.
She was a visionary.
She assumed.
She.
I have no
detected-
idea.
She fantasized.
She's like, that guy was eating ice cream.
She didn't know if you had nuts on it though.
You have nuts on it. Yeah.
I mean, you got to have it's not a Sunday unless there's nuts on it.
Lamar, I told you about the bee sting story of the guy in the bus.
Oh yes, that's a great story.
Yeah. So there's all sorts of stories, and people like
Bus stories are awesome.
Yeah, people
all the
love
time.
to tell me like life stories at loud volumes, which I and the surrounding people always tend to appreciate. Yeah, so
You know where you find weird people like that at weird art shows like this.
Yeah.
yeah, so the art performance piece kind of wraps up, and some messages were said, and then they call up Zach, and he does a hacky sack art performance.
I didn't understand this.
That's fun.
Did they call him up because he was like the newcomer?
Well, Laney was like, he's gonna come up. So the
I
guy
see.
Mitch was like, is there a Zach? Our friend Laney says he's new and he wants to show what he's got. So you've got to come up. And he like gets the crowd to make him come up, and then he does a hacky sack performance.
Did he have that? Was that his hacky sack?
Yeah, he took it out of his pocket.
If there's anything I remember about the late 90s, is that you always have one of those like sandbags in your pocket.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
At this point in the time, I was
even sack break?
I doubted if Mike would like any of this movie. And when I was watching this with my wife, she chuckled and very clearly commented, "Oh, Mike's gonna effing hate this movie."
Mike did not hate this movie.
Well, did you like this scene? Because this scene's terrible.
This scene was terrible. I was almost out for this.
And Freddie Prinze Jr. was out for this.
Yeah, it was awkward.
So he's hacky sacking, and he's like, "Can't drop the sack. But you got to do more, Zach. You got to do more. You got to do it all, buddy. Can't drop the sack." And he's trying to do life scenarios by hacky sacking, and sooner or later, it drops. And everyone claps, and it's amazing. And then he goes outside and tells Laney she has beautiful eyes. And she shuts that shit down
yeah,
immediately.
she's not buying it.
Yeah, like there's like little weird quirky moments in this movie I really like. It's like, oh, you have really beautiful eyes. And he seems sincere. Like I don't really feel he's saying a line. And she just turns around and she's like, get bent. Yeah. Yeah, just like absolutely not. And then she leaves.
Yeah,
Just like that.
Yeah, and he's infatuated.
he is infatuated.
He's pretty much a stalker.
He is now.
He
Yeah.
stalked her to, he's got a bet to win. So he first stalked her to the Falafel King or whatever the place she works.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen Josie and the Pussycats, which she's in?
No.
I don't think so.
I kind of specifically want Mike to watch it. I
like how this podcast has devolved into let's pick movies we
No.
think Mike will hate.
Well, I don't know about that. So I had seen parts of Josie and the Pussycats, and then I watched the whole thing a couple years ago. It's a weird comedic styling that I don't remember. So like at one point in time, there's like also like a boy band, and it's led by Seth Green. And
Wow.
like it's like really bizarre. So
Okay.
like it's not what you think it would be. It's like a way more in the no meta version of Josie and the Pussycats. So I was like, this movie's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't think you're gonna walk away, Mike, and being like, it's amazing.
Bravo.
I loved it. But I think you're gonna be like, oh, this had sensibilities that were way different than I thought it would be.
All right,
it's
I'm down.
kinda more in the know.
Why not?
Okay, we'll be doing that later tonight.
Okay.
Crack open some beers.
Yeah.
Crack open some pizza.
Yeah.
Let's have an early Easter.
Okay. It'll be an Easter weekend to remember.
We're already a couple of days off of Valentine's Day when this comes out, so life's like a box of chocolates. It's Easter. That's my motto.
Yeah, that's
The motto I'm going to send into peeps.
oh peeps. Can't wait. So the next scene has, I think, my favorite line from the movie, where I don't remember what they were even talking about. Freddie Prinze Jr. is talking to Paul Walker about something, and they're like, he missed practice or whatever. It's like, bro, I've been busy. Yeah, busy wigging.
Maximum wiggage.
Well, yeah, that got a good. I LOL.
Is what you're telling me? 25 years later, wiggage and wiggin aren't holding up, Mike.
No, I think I'm gonna try to bring it back. Like at work, if I'm ever like, why aren't you guys doing this? Like, God, Mike, I've been busy. I'm like, yeah, busy wigging.
I think that should be on official emails to people you work with. Like, lately, people have been wigging. I just wanted to address this.
Yeah.
Maybe we could get HR involved with the maximum wiggage.
I feel like if you use wigging in an email, it's going to HR real quick.
Yeah,
He's building a bomb.
it would.
This is stage one of
Something's
3.
wrong- Something's wrong. But yeah. So Laney's still kind of being a downer, though. I think. Do we see her do more lame art here?
Well, Zach rolls up, and this is where he's like, let's go to the beach.
Well, he wants to go to the beach.
Oh, yeah, he meets the dad and
The
his family.
father.
He meets the father.
We have Collin in the room. We got to speak appropriately.
That's true. Show some respect.
Lose your Cockney accent and talk like you should.
Oh, and he meets the brother too. The brother.
Oh shit! And it's Kieran Culkin.
Yeah, there you go.
It's all fitting.
Full circle.
The world, yeah.
There's a Sega reference, because why
Sega.
not? Sega! Because it's 1999, damn it. It's got to throw that Sega in there.
Yeah, but was that still a motto in 1999 of Sega? That seems
think
like
so.
like a mid 90s thing.
They ran with that for a long time. They had
Yeah.
that campaign role for, it might have been late. And I can see that. His brother's a little, or her brother's a little spaz.
I wanted to note something about it's in the trivia, and I'm wondering about this, and this seems kind of weird that I'm bringing this up. Kieran Culkin has 2 hearing aids throughout the film, which is fine, and no one says anything about it, which is great. Like, no one should. But he is bullied throughout the film at school on a couple occasions, and I'm wondering if something was brought up with that at some point in time, and someone was like, I don't even want to address this, or
Maybe.
like was this too mean? I don't know. Like that.
I mean, people telling each other to kill themselves. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
where's the bar here?
Mean changed a lot between 1999 and today.
Yeah, hearing aids were off limits, but yeah, tell her to kill herself. That's chill.
Something probably changed. I mean, bullies have always looked at a physical apparatus as a sign of, I'm going to go bully them.
Yeah.
And that might have been it, but it's probably never verbally been brought up in this movie.
I feel like there was like levels of bullies that if it was like hearing aid devices, like that's kind of off limits. He later even says like someone's like blah 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 your mom, and he's like my mom's dead. Like I feel that's kind of off like that for a lot of people. It's like
Yeah.
and it sounds like crazy. Like it was almost like in our time and age growing up is like you could punch that kid in the face and you're a bully, and like people would be like stop bullying. Like you do not talk about their dead mother.
Yeah.
Like,
That's fair. I mean, like, no making fun of disabilities or dead mothers. Being a lame nerd, open season, but none of the disabilities.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, Zach's like, I'm gonna take you to the beach, and she's like, fine, I'll
the
get my
beach.
suit. And then they go to the beach, and they're talking, and Laney's a big downer, like, oh, the ocean's contaminated, and he's like, shut off your brain, Laney. And she does. And all of a sudden, Paul Walker's like, hey, broskins, like, I know you went to this spot. We knew you were going to be there. And he walks over and he's like, yeah, I knew you'd be here, bro. Then he says something really off-putting. He's like, many women have lost it here. I'm like, oh, my God, gross.
He also says, check out the Bobos on Super Freak.
I thought it was the bubbles on Super.
Oh,
the bubbles.
Do we need
One of
Colin-
those.
Do we need
Yeah.
Colin to look that up?
It was for sure Bobo's,
Oh, man. I got to update my notes.
which is probably the bizarrest thing. I
Yeah.
guess. But yeah, incredible.
I wonder if that works with the ladies. Oh, baby, some sweet Bobos.
I'll try it tonight.
Yeah, okay, let us know.
It's a bell money.
You can text us from the couch.
I was going to say,
you
you could remove me from that group text. That's Bobos are a go, guys.
Bobos are a go-go.
I'm hoping to see that text later.
Just a thumbs up.
Oh, man.
So then they play volleyball.
Yeah, poorly.
Yeah, poorly. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess we needed another scene to fill in some stuff.
Beach volleyball montage scene, yeah.
I kind of like one thing I really liked about the beach scene and the volleyball scene is that the previously whatever Vaughn's friends kind of became Laney's friends.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
she's like, fine, like I'll
I know one of
play.
them's Katie.
Yeah, like I'll play, volleyball with you, and the other girls are like, okay, cool, I'll come too.
Yeah.
And then they were terrible at it, and no one was like, you suck at volleyball. They were all just having a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was just fun.
You could see that Taylor is kind of considered like the evil queen bee plastic from Mean Girls, where it's like, and I feel this is where it needed to be fleshed out a little more. But there's illusions that, she's really mean to her friends, or would have, as Collin's noting, would have said something to like make them feel less than. But they're like, oh, this new girl, like she's just trying to fit in. I'm trying to fit in too, and you know what? We could just have a fun time. Like it's not really competitive. It's just like us having a fun time. And throughout the movie, there are like really minor things said. Like I think Taylor says something to like Laney and Katie's like, whatever, like that's mean, like don't say that, or like I'm just gonna leave. Like her friends start disappearing, and spoiler, eventually when she breaks up with Matthew Lillard or he dumps her, her friends aren't really there. And she's like, where were you guys? And clearly I think they would have been there like in a moment, but now they're not there anymore. They're like living their own lives.
Yeah.
Taylor also seems like she sucks.
Yeah.
She does seem like that.
Right off the bat, when you first meet her, and she doesn't change that temperament through the whole movie. I think I called her a Stacy earlier. She's just the Queen Stacy.
Sorry. I'm just looking at the weird notes that I wrote that I don't understand.
But she's fitting in so well that the friends, they actually are inviting her to a party later.
Yeah, everyone wants her to go to the party.
Yeah, and while they're playing volleyball, we get a hit song, "Sugar" by Stretch
yes.
Princess. We'll get a very, very notable song here in a moment.
The
But yeah,
soundtrack is banger after banger.
yeah, banger of late '90s hits.
No.
But yeah, everyone wants Laney to go to the party, and Freddie Prinze Jr. is like, yeah, you should go. It's Dulé Hill's party. His parents are out of town, and everyone's going to head over to Dulé Hill's house. And they do. Sort of. Laney at first is like, I have to clean my house, and I'm not going. Can you drop me off? This is kind of a weird moment, because she's like, I'm not doing it. I have to clean my house. So can you just drop me off? And she's not like really nice about it. But I'm also like, I assume you're about to get in this guy's Jeep for the next 50 minutes as he drives you home. So like that's got to be a fun ride.
Did they talk about anything?
They listen to Sugar by Stretch Princess.
Wow. Terrible, right? Terrible.
Yeah, but so I do like the next scene. Lamar was chuckling all throughout this. They are back at Laney's house, and Laney is maybe going to clean part of this. Kevin Pollak is sort of watching Jeopardy, and Jeopardy's on the background, but he is just throwing out these weird answers. The first one was like blank and blank, invented like as like an alternative to wine that was non-alcoholic. And Kevin Pollak's like, what is non-alcoholic wine?
It's like Stephen Welch invented a
And he's then just like throwing out all these wrong answers. But there's a ring at the doorbell, and it is Zach. And Laney's like, I can't go. I have to clean the house. And he took the JV soccer team and made them clean the house. And they seem excited about it, which is weird. I would not, because some guy walks in, he's like, okay, I'm going to do the kitchen. And someone excitedly goes, okay, I'm going to do the bathroom. Like, that's,
wow.
Like, this is a fiction.
Excited to clean bathrooms. Yeah.
Well,
We're going to do it. I'm going to clean the toilet with my hand. And then
he has a lot of power to get the whole JV soccer team.
He's the president. He's the captain of the soccer team.
Everyone loves him. He's Mr. Popular. He's big shit.
Freddie Prinze.
Yeah.
And then then Laney's like, well, I don't have anything to wear. He's like, but I have this, and he just pulls out this red dress, and she's like, but I just don't look the part. And then in walks Mackenzie, and she goes, I'm his sister, call me Mac. And they go upstairs, and she gives her eyebrows a tweeze, puts on some makeup, cuts her hair, gets her into that dress, and then we get the most iconic scene of this film. Sixpence None the Richer, Kiss Me, is playing as Laney Boggs descends the stairwell We see her, she looks great, and then immediately almost falls over, and Zach runs to her because she's still kind of a klutz, which is supposed to be cute, charming. She looks good. I mean, it's not an amazing makeover. I never at one point thought, you were awful, and now you look good. I think Rachael Leigh Cook is like the definition of like a cute-looking person. And I think she is all throughout this movie, before or after. It does not matter.
She was great. I thought she looked great in this scene. The reveal was kind of odd. There was like a weird build up to it where, I don't know, the build up took way too long for me. They were just sitting there waiting for her. Come on down, Laney. And there's just a long scene of Zach just looking down. Like, just have her come down. Come on. Yeah. But she does. And
she wasn't hesitant at all about the dress. She's like, oh, I don't wear things like that or anything like that whatsoever.
Yeah.
And so the hesitation was bizarre.
Yeah, good call, Collin. I mean, like, this is like a super, like, Rachael Leigh Cook is like very slender. This is a super form-fitting dress. And I only say that because up until this time, we've basically seen her wearing like XXL, like, overalls covered in paint. Even her, like, her swimsuit is just like a one piece where everyone else is wearing bikinis. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But yeah, if someone was like, I have this very form-fitting, like apparel that you never wear, like, oh, okay.
Like at the art show too, what she was wearing was pretty form-fitting. It wasn't like revealing at all, but it's still, you know.
I think that was more like in the guise of like the performance.
Sure,
though. Like,
but I mean, she still should be she seemed comfortable wearing anything.
I mean, you heard the song. It said "Kiss Me."
That's true.
And then she almost fell down the stairs.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, this is like a home insurance commercial.
Yeah.
That I'm writing in my head.
I want to see that commercial one day.
Kiss me.
Bring it to life.
Every year, 5 people fall down a flight of steps. Don't let that be you.
There we go.
Hi, I was the president on 24. Have you fallen down the stairs? Very, very good. Well, we get to the party, and Dulé Hill's character, very minor. I do like him. Even at the beach, he introduces himself. He's like, my name's Preston, and Laney's like, I know who you are. He seems sincere about this. As soon as they come to the party, Preston brings them both drinks. Preston is the only one aware outside of Dean, the bet, but he seems kind of sincere that he likes Laney. He seems really nice to her and stuff like that. But yeah, they're at the party. Laney immediately goes to the restroom and runs into Misty. And so kind of that shout out where I was like, wow, my wife, great observation. So again, the first scene with Clea DuVall, she's painting this clown, and I did not see that as a clown the first time. Then my wife caught it when we were all watching it. So Misty is just beyond drunk. Like, she is vomits all over the rim of the toilet. I joked with Lamar, I'm like, it's only 6:30 p.m. But it seems early. Like, they just got there. So
you
like,
joke, but you might have been right.
I mean,
that was accurate.
If I had to really make a guess, it's like 9 or 10 o'clock at the latest. So I'm like, why are you this drunk? But she is a asshole to Laney. Like, I feel there are just kind of some lines, and this is like really crossing them. And Laney does, I feel, kind of like a human code that we all kind of need to live up to. Misty is, again, like on the floor in this bathroom, and Laney just tries to help her, like wipes off her mouth, like, what can I do? Like, I feel the code, what I'm trying to say is, like, you run into someone this drunk, like, it's not time to antagonize them or prank them. Like, this is like bad. This is bad drunk. And Laney does try to help, but Misty just keeps talking shit. She's like, how does it feel like I'm rich and you're just poor as hell and I'm going to anywhere I want on all these scholarships, meh, and then passes out. And then we see Laney shut the door and we don't know what happens. But later, Misty walks out and her face is painted like a clown and she starts screaming.
It's nice art.
Yeah.
It was really elaborate.
It looked like one of those masks in Three Ninjas.
Oh, yeah. It did. Collin, did you know the third part of Three Ninjas is filmed here in Colorado? Which I think we should all watch at some point in time.
Is that true?
It is.
It was shot at Eliges.
Yeah.
And it stars Hulk Hogan.
Yes. Cool. All of that is true. We have not seen it, but yes.
Sweet.
Yeah.
One day.
We could rent out part of... I'm sure renting out part of Elitch Gardens is cheap as shit.
We can just sneak in there.
Jeremy's going to be here. We could relive it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That could be like Jeremy's field trip. Jeremy's big day out.
Who's going to be Hulk? Is he going to be Hulk Hogan?
Yes, and the three
gonna
ninjas and the policeman, because I'm not going to be there.
Give him a bunch of hand puppets.
He's going to be filming it all.
Okay, my next note is jump up my ass.
Okay, so we've got two amazing things going on here first. Before we get some jump, we might have some jumping off the ass. So Taylor has a confrontation with Zach. Like, Brock is here, and Brock is my boyfriend. Maybe I could introduce you or get you an autograph. And then she says that Zach says something, and she says, like, jump up my ass. And he's like, been there, done that. And then we get two kind of important things that happen. One
Matthew Lillard dancing.
Well, I'm going to say one important plot point and one important point in my heart. So a plot point is... kind of interchangeably, doesn't really matter. Basically, there will be a dance that we talk about, but after that dance, Taylor and Laney get into it. Laney purposely spills a drink all over Laney, and Laney runs off and is really sad. But before that happens, Matthew Lillard, Brock Hudson, performs just an impromptu dance to Give It To Me. It's frightening. Everyone's frightened. I love this scene because I really feel like this could have gone a different way where like a lot of people were into it, but like he starts dancing and everyone realizes this guy's a complete joke. And these are high school kids. They're like, wow, this guy's a loser.
I like the slow realization. It was kind of like when he started, I thought maybe they are getting into it. And then when he took the mic from the DJ stand, that's when I looked at the crowd and like, man, this guy is a loser. You called it perfectly, just like that.
Like, my God, she is all that.
But Matthew Lillard was not all that.
Yeah, so she's super angry, Laney, that is, and she demands Zach takes her home. And he does, which makes sense.
Yeah,
and the next day they're at school. And everyone loves Laney. Mm-hmm. As you said.
Nominated.
Falafel Fairy herself says, we have not established that. We have Usher fully in the background, as one does at your school, where he is constantly on the intercom system, just DJing some music, giving some updates. He refers to Laney as the Falafel Fairy. They're also, Usher's also like, saying like weird stuff like, oh, like Zach feeling heartbroken, Taylor's on the prowl for a new dude. I'm like, what the hell? Like, what kind of school do you go to?
One where Usher's the DJ and the voice.
When we were watching this, I can't remember what I told Collin, like exactly what the example was, but it was like, if he said that, I'd just march into the office and punch this dude in the head. Like, dude. Like,
yeah, but it's Usher. Mm-hmm. He can't do that.
Well, then you show the scene where I march in and I'm like, hey. And he goes, hey. And then gives me the point. I'm like, it is Usher.
There you go. Yeah, that solves everything.
I can't be mad at you, Usher.
It is weird that he's just giving out all this, some of it personal.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the personal stuff, I'd be like, dude, like, what, shut up.
Like, look at how tight her dress is. Like, what the hell's going on here, Usher? Come on. Usher would say that, but come on. He's a PA DJ. Come on now. At a high school, Beverly Hills school, what the hell's going on with this guy?
Nobody knows.
All right.
He does his own thing. He makes his own rules. I wish my high school had an announcer.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Well, we get another quick cut, and it's back to Laney's basement, and it's out of school. Laney's painting. I assume she knows it's Zach because you see kind of some steps come down, and she says, "No, like no one's allowed to come down here." But we later do see the father down there.
Wait, who?
The father.
Thank you.
Kevin Pollak. The Pollak.
Yes.
But this is kind of a nice scene. Zach comes down there, and he is very much amazed by what she's drawing or what she's painting, and it's got a tribute to her mom. They have an open conversation where she notes that her mom died of cancer, and he's like, listen, this is what's kind of your problem. Like, you keep everyone, away from you. And she kind of fights him back. She's like, well, if I'm doing that, like, you need to make decisions. You don't make decisions about school. And they both kind of like respect one another for having these open conversations. They're about to kiss. You could see that Zach is feeling guilty about all this, and very awkwardly runs out. He's like, "Oh, I gotta help my dad with a sprinkler thing."
Yeah, that was weird.
The ending to the scene was weird, but I liked it. All right.
Yeah. So the picture of her mother was actually a picture of Bonnie Bedelia, who is Kieran Culkin's aunt.
Yeah, I read that. I read that on IMDb.
Wow, nice.
Kind of fun.
Yeah, next time, I just want to give any of you listeners or anyone in this room, next time any of you are getting intimate with your partners, I just want you to abruptly stop and run out of the room saying, I got to help my dad with a sprinkler thing. It's sexy. It's hot. You'll be it'll pay off tenfold, I assure you. Write us how that goes for you. If it goes unwell, write this attention to Mike.
Yeah.
And if it goes well, just send us an email. Let us know for all of us. But yeah, then we get a fake real world dream. We're in the real world where Zach thinks he's confronting Laney, and it was all a bet. No, it's not. And then he wakes up, and it's all fake because only Brock was on the real world.
Real world.
Yeah.
Now we're back at school.
Are we?
Yeah,
so.
weird cafeteria scene.
I thought the dad wasn't the dad scene talking about schools next. I mean, it doesn't fucking matter.
Not. Taylor is launching a huge competition to be the prom queen.
That's right. That's right.
And then Dean is watching two dudes rap about prom queen, and that is truly where we find out she's all that. And I can say that.
It's true. It was a nice rap, and you do realize she's all that.
Yeah.
My next note is don't get Mo on me.
It's prom.
Oh, that was during the dream sequence.
Was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
like Matthew Lillard. They're like, you have beautiful eyes. And Dean looks at him and is like, well, not Dean, Matthew Lillard's character. You know, I don't want to get Mo on you, but you do have beautiful eyes.
Yeah.
He wakes up like that.
Don't get Mo on anyone.
Yeah, it's best not to. Okay. Oh, so the next scene is where the Shermanator puts pubes on a pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is really gross. This scene's super gross. So Simon, Kieran Culkin, for some reason is roller skating around, and he's kind of
With
the
a
big
pepper
wigger.
grinder, like fucking Olive Garden.
Yeah, asking everyone in the cafeteria if they want fresh ground pepper. He's a quirky weirdo. He doesn't deserve any of the stuff that happens to him. We also get to see a Sarah Michelle Gellar cameo, as I said before.
Yeah.
She doesn't say anything, which is probably why she was allowed to be on here, where you probably don't have to pay someone.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of my guess. But Kieran Culkin asks if she wants pepper. She shakes her head no and gives him a tray. But then two bullies. We get the Shermanator from American Pie and another guy. And one guy takes pubic hair and puts it on a pizza.
He reached into his pants, and it was kind of a lot that he
It
pulled out.
was. He had
So
to
gross.
rip that thing out.
So gross.
Yeah.
Or he's just shedding all the time.
Yeah, he should talk to someone.
Yeah, that's a problem.
That was a normal amount.
And it's about to become a scene where they're going to try to make Simon eat it. But Zach sees this and puts a stop to it and makes these kids eat it. And it's all super duper gross.
It is.
I'll just keep it nice and summarized at that because it's just super gross. But he's a stand-up guy, and he is really nice to Simon, and Simon is really happy. You do get to see Laney look up, and she's very impressed, but they make eye contact, and you could still see he's somewhat guilty and runs off. And really, it just leads to the prom night. At this point in time, Dean has been asking Laney to go to the prom. And Dean pulls this who's Paul Walker, pulls this very weird reverse, I don't know, strategy, which is just, it's full out lying, but it's really out of nowhere, where Freddie Prinze Jr. is guilty and he knows there's a bet, but he wants to ask Laney. But Dean's like, hey, I really like this girl, and enough's enough. Like, you had a bet because you could win her over that you didn't think she was good enough, and now you can make her good enough. And Laney's like, what? And freaks out. And then Paul Walker has been chipping away at her, like, I want to take you to this dance, and shows up at her house. And he does have a good piece of logic. He says, I didn't ask anyone else and planned to show up here in the attempt that you were my only option. So I hope that says a lot for what's happening. And honestly, I would think it would, at least for like a friend date. Like he did say like, we could just like hang out. He's a liar and a piece of shit. But that is what he is saying. So, I mean, that would kind of make sense.
yeah.
And she goes. and he's a liar and a piece of shit. And at the prom, they award king and queen, and Zach wins, and it's a very close vote. 46% goes to Laney. She doesn't win it, and Taylor wins. Taylor's super happy about winning, but then starts yelling at all the people who betrayed her, and the principal turns her off. She's like, and those of you who didn't vote for me. I wanted to hear more of that speech.
Yeah.
But somewhere at the prom, a couple things happen. Zach brings his sister, Mackenzie, and she hits it off with Jesse. I love Jesse. In this
cool.
movie. Yeah, Jesse's like a really good friend, and they do have a really quick scene earlier in the film where it's nice that they establish their backstory. I mean, because Rachael Leigh Cook, like, clearly is an attractive person, like, in real life, and in the movie they're trying to make it where it's not. But so you would think, like, why does Jesse, who is attracted to Mackenzie and these other girls that he's talking about, not think that Laney's cute? And it is clearly established that they basically have known each other all of their lives. They have been friends since they were very little. They're basically brother and sister, or maybe like cousins. And he says it directly. He's like, do I find you kissable? Like, I don't know. I've known you all of my life. Like, you're you. And I think he does a really good job at showing that he's just a friend. Like, I really think he's a good actor. He does a good job. So at the prom, he hits it off with Mackenzie, and I like that. He's like, I don't really know anyone. And she's like, I go to a school with 500 chicks. and they hit it off. But he's in the restroom, and he overhears Dean's going to try to have sex with Laney. And I don't know why you just go into a restroom and start announcing that. Dulé Hill is thoroughly off-put by this. He's like, you're gross, dude, whatever.
Pretty much everyone is.
He's trying to
random people. He's like, hey, bro, I'm going to sleep with her. And the guy, like, so some random guy just shakes his head.
Yeah. Gross, bro.
Right. Like, I also shake my head. I would say nothing. Like, hey, bro, I'm going to sleep with this person. I don't know who you are. Okay.
So at this point, I feel like we should talk play by play through it. There's a 7-minute dance scene of a Fatboy Slim song.
Usher says, hey, get ready for that one that I taught you all how to dance to. And apparently he taught 100 people how to dance.
Yeah, he did it over the PA. He just explained the moves really in detail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now we get to see a 3-minute dance scene.
Was it only 3 minutes? Because it felt like my whole life.
Mike, it was 20, but it only felt like 75. Yeah, it goes on forever, like a synchronized dance scene of Fatboy Slim. The two terrible scenes in this film for me are this and the hacky sack scene. I'm going to go back to the hacky sack scene. I'm going to rip off another movie, one that Mike has seen, but I'm going to implant what should have happened. And I was thinking about this, and it was more similar. Mike, you've seen Daddy's Home 2. And there is a scene where they go to a bar and they're doing improv. Mm-hmm. And through improv, John Lithgow's character starts realizing, like, he's like unpacking the real events. And then, like, his son is seeing this. That essentially, I think, is what should have happened for real instead of the hacky sack scene, where that performance group should have called him up. And then they should have been like, we're going to do an improv. And then upon drilling, then it should have been revealed, like, it's too much. I'm asked too much. I can't do too much. I'm one person. Like, but then he realizes it's improv and then, like, whatever. But I know they probably wanted to leave him off on a more positive note, but, like, the hacky sack scene's ridiculous. This dance scene's ridiculous. This is dead weight. I definitely think they should have added, as Mike said, it's in one of my notes, they should have added another Kevin Pollak scene. An underutilized character in this movie, but every one of his scenes is one of my favorite. I think he's a really sweet father. I really like him as a father in this. I don't really have a rhyme or reason. It's not because I'm a dad as well. I'm just like, I have always liked his role in this, and I've seen this movie before, so I'm like, he was well cast. I don't know. How do you guys feel about Kevin Pollak as a dad?
I love Kevin Pollak as most things.
Yeah.
I think it was great because it also, he's a single dad here too.
Yeah.
Or I have no idea where the mother's dead from cancer, but I have no idea how long he's been raising Laney. And you can clearly see in every scene he's trying his best. And yeah, like you said, there's probably some more scenes that could have been added that adds to his character, which would add more value to their relationship. It's perfectly fine where it is now, but it feels like it could have been so much more if they had more Pollak scenes.
The Pollak.
He did just prior to the prom. He did have that adorable scene where he went downstairs and was like,
I love that scene.
Sometimes
Yeah.
I forget that you're a kid. You just got to be a kid.
Yeah, like I totally buy it. Like he's like, I like his relationship too. As you like noted, Lamar, he is a single father, and you could sense like he is working a lot. He's trying to like also have a relationship with each of his kids separately, which is established. Like he's teaching Kieran Culkin more about the business, and he's hanging out with him a lot. Laney on the side, you could tell she has a lot more freedom. I get the sense that Laney's not the best student in the world. She's not. Clearly, she does not have like the fourth highest GPA. But I get the sense that she's overall a good student, specifically in art and stuff like that, or a dutiful student. So, and she doesn't seem to get in trouble or do weird stuff. So it seems like the dad's like whatever, like you do whatever you want, in a good way. Like this would not work in a lot of families, but you're missing one of the parental units due to a death. I think you grow up quickly.
Yeah,
I would assume, but. Yeah, now Jesse gets word to Zach that Dean is going to take her to room 409, but we don't know the hotel. And Zach goes in a mad rush, calling every hotel, driving every hotel, and then we don't know where he goes as an audience member, and we just see Laney come home.
Mm-hmm. Kevin Pollak greets her, says, "Hey, pumpkin nose," or whatever. Looks like you had fun.
As Collin noted when we started, he does not feel she has a pumpkin nose.
Yeah, agreed.
For how often he says that.
Yeah. But, surprise, surprise, FPJ is he's inside the house.
The calls are coming from inside.
That's right. Yeah, so Kevin Pollak is like quizzing Kieran Culkin on pool shapes so he can take over the family business.
It's a kidney. You learn it or I'm taking one.
Oh my god.
It was a different time.
It was,
1999.
yeah.
Again, no one thought they would live past Y2K, so they were like, it was an all or nothing scenario. All the teen movies were released, kidneys were being taken.
Yeah.
God, it was a time to be alive.
Oh, man.
Yes.
Well, Freddie Prinze Jr. is there, and they have a very nice talk. Here's a weird thing I'm going to say about this movie. I really kind of like the culmination of their relationship in this movie. So, Freddie Prinze Jr. is like, hey, I heard what happened, and I didn't want that to happen. Like, this dude's a jerk, and I like you. And it wasn't, like, overly jealous. It's just like, this dude's a jerk, and he shouldn't sleep with you. It's for bad reasons. And she's like, well, he didn't. I found out too late, but he leaned into me, and she basically has a bullhorn and put it next to his ear, apparently, and just launched it off or pressed the button. She's like, hopefully it didn't cause permanent hearing loss. And they go in the backyard, and they start talking, and then all the lights turn on, and you could see the last scene of Kevin Pollak is him, like, smiling at his daughter and kind of waving goodnight, like, again, like, I trust you. I turn on the lights. It's kind of cute. This guy seems nice. Live. That's what he said before. And they have kind of a nice talk. And he's like, I'm dumb. And, it was a bet. And she's like, well, what did you lose? And she's like, he's like, I lost my best friend. I learned a lot from you. And I kind of like this as a scene because they do kiss, but that's it. Like, this isn't like, I promise I'm going to be with you forever and always. We should get engaged. Like, she straight up says, like, what are you going to do? I'm going to art school. He's like, I'm going to do art too. But he's clearly kidding. But I think what we're watching is like, hey, we'll clearly be here for one another for the summer, but we're totally parting ways. Like, did anyone feel differently about that? Like,
That's perfect.
that's what I
I
got.
feel,
Right.
yeah, that's exactly what I got.
I really feel that's a strong writing point, to be honest. Because I'm like, if this was like promises of like, now that we've established this, like, from now until June, it will be forever and always. I'm like, it's not realistic. So I kind of like it. And it's a very sweet thing. And then she has kind of a memorable line. She's like, I feel just like Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman, except for the whole hooker thing. And you could even tell Freddie Prinze Jr. just kind of laughing in real life. And she's like, what about that bet? And he's like, you'll see. I never like go back on a bet. And the bet is, now we're at graduation and everyone's graduating. Paul Walker is deaf. So, I mean, he probably deserves it. So there's that. Everyone's graduating. And one of the last scenes is Freddie Prinze Jr. What was the bet? He's not wearing any clothes. He's just wearing like his honors sash. and his cap, and he has a volleyball covering his junk. He gets up, and we hear everyone going, ooh, and he throws his ball that was touching his balls right to Laney. She smiles, ball on ball, the end. She is all that.
And then he became on the sex offender registry and couldn't go to college.
Damn it.
He became that.
Now everybody's that.
Yeah, he probably is on a couple lists.
Oh,
now.
yeah.
Yeah. So before we get to our final critiques on She's All That for this soon after Valentine's Day critique, as always, feel free to reach out to us at rabbittroopsuckspodcast@gmail.com. If there's any kind of movies you want us to review, or something seasonal, or something fun, or you've got some trivia, or you really just want to hear those isolated clips from Mike that we've been talking about for all those years, reach out to us. If not, go to our webpage proper, rabbittroopsucks.com, and there are links to audio files, etc. You could reach out to us in every way by just listening to our podcast, which plays on everything. If you are on Google, it is becoming YouTube. Apple, Mike, you're gonna have to approve something in our Gmail, is now doing transcriptions, and I think we have to just click on something to approve it. So if you want transcribed podcasts, I guess if Apple's doing it, but anywhere that has podcasts,
If listening is enough and you want to read this for some reason, okay.
Yeah, so anywhere that has podcasts, and hey, as always, when you're checking out Apple and stuff, give us that 5 out of 5 stars.
Yeah.
You know you want to.
Yeah, follow us, like us.
You're all that. You're all that, buddy.
Leave a
Fella.
comment. The comment can be mean as long as the 5 stars are there.
Aren't you a handsome lass with that 5 out of 5 stars?
If you want to tell Paul to bring the keys around, lover,
I'm going to change wigs.
bring the car around, lover.
Check out the Bobos on that 5-star review.
If you want Bobos, a Boboing,
Don't get Mo on me, guys.
don't get Mo on Mike.
I feel like that might be
if
not
you
an okay
want
thing to say.
if you want a shot of my like a headshot and then get
God.
to Mo on that, we could send you one.
Don't Mo on my headshot.
Hit us up on Instagram or Facebook, anywhere. But yeah, and those of you who write us, thanks a lot. A lot of you have, a lot of people have written like, I really like this movie, or this meant a lot. About the movies we post. Super cool. Like, thanks. Like, that's awesome. We'll always reply. But yeah, what did you all think of She's All That? Which normally I feel is a movie we wouldn't have selected, but you three have not seen it. It's a couple days after Valentine's Day. I thought it's pretty fitting. What do you guys think of She's All That?
That was a good selection from you. I don't have much to say about this movie. When you first told us that you're going to bring this movie up for us to review, I kind of groaned. Late 90s teen. I don't want to call it is it a rom-com? Do you guys think this is a rom-com or
Sort
comedy?
of.
Or yeah,
guess so,
just
yeah.
straight out? That's not my cup of tea. I'm happy that I sat down and watched it. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. The banger cast. They're all good. I'm
They're all that?
impressed. They are. This cast is all that, and she's all that.
Pollak.
The Pollak is awesome. No, this cast is great. I like this movie. It's not the greatest thing on earth, but I liked it.
Collin, what are you thinking? She's All That.
It was okay. I didn't really think she was all that. I liked the movie. I liked, a lot of the writing. I definitely,
You
I
didn't think
definitely thought
she
it
was
really
all
funny.
that, really?
Yeah, I mean, I think she was a kid that people knew about, that they made a bet about. There wasn't enough dichotomy between like her being a nerdy, spaz, and then like bringing up to being popular. It just seemed like she just put on a dress and called it good. Like she was all that beforehand. Like if she was all that beforehand, then you would think there would have been some recognition, but I don't know, man. I don't want to think about this too much. But it was fun. I enjoyed watching it. I might go revisit 10 Things I Hate About You so that I could see which one is.
Yeah.
If there's a reason that I've seen that a handful of times and I've never seen this. But I probably won't do that.
Yeah.
Something interesting about this film, and my wife pointed this out when we were watching this, was this is the story of Freddie Prinze Jr. and not her. So like the idea that she's all that, like she is not the main character, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. And like thinking about this movie before, I often think she's the main character. Freddie Prinze Jr. is like co-main character. But watching it and my wife pointing that out, I was like, oh my God, He is totally the main character. And that's what I think clicked before. That, like, he's kind of in a different film for me. He's a much more serious actor in comparison to everyone else in this film. I actually just really respect him. The more I watch Freddie Prinze Jr. movies, I feel he is a strong actor and has often been in movies that don't do well, but it's not because of him. And I feel that might be I'm going back and watching these films. But I do want to just note, I think Freddie Prinze Jr. is a pretty solid actor, and I do like him in this. I overall like this film. I do not like those two scenes. The hacky sack scene is ridiculous. I bet Freddie Prinze Jr. hated doing that scene. The dance scene to Fatboy Slim is just ridiculous as well. But for what this movie is, like a fun, quirky comedy romance, I that's why I've seen this movie a bunch. Like, I've had it on the background. I think this movie is a lot of fun. I do agree with Collin that is she all that? I just want to say that. I think what the story is, Zach met a really nice person, and that person is just like really cool and down to earth. I don't think that's bad, but it was not like I met her and I realized like she's the inventor of magic. Like,
right.
like that's she's all that. Like, holy shit, she's a wizard. It was just more like I met someone who I thought was like a weirdo, but they're actually just kind of cool. So yeah, like I don't know if I'd be like she's all that. It would just be like she's nice.
In comparison to all the other women in this movie, which were just standard Beverly Hills teens.
Yeah. And as noted, some of those women were coming around. Like, they liked Laney at the end because she was just nice and everyone just wanted to have a good time, not just be treated like a jerk. But yeah, I had fun with this movie. Do I think 25 years later that like a lot of these messages hold up, like as far as like school stuff? Yeah, overall. But again, I think the transformation was kind of not really there. All right, Mike, she's all that.
Oh shit. No, you're definitely right. This was a Freddie Prinze Jr. movie. Like, he's the only one who really goes through any kind of like growth.
Yeah.
Like, Laney gets a haircut, but she's the same person throughout the whole movie, which is fine because she was great to start with. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I got a couple chuckles out of it. If I had seen it when it came out, I would have fucking hated it, and probably would have still hated it. And I recognize why I avoided it, because like, to Lamar's point, this is not really my kind of movie. But I enjoyed it. I maintain I had a feeling going into this, and I was validated. I do genuinely believe that Not Another Teen Movie is a better version of this movie. And so like I knew the plot of this movie because I have seen Not Another Teen Movie like 45 times. And I think it's funnier and more interesting than this. But that's really it.
I think it's funny that Mike noted that like if you saw this movie when it came out. So I kind of noted I did. Again, not like in the theater the day of, but when I saw it in 2000 ish, that was my guess. I've also too always really liked Kevin Pollak, so I remember being like, I like Kevin Pollak's character. Again, he's not in it a lot. Kevin Pollak probably has like, honestly, 10 minutes, maybe 12 in this movie, spread throughout. This movie's an hour and 35 minutes. And I just was very neutral to it. I don't dislike rom-coms. At this time, like, my rom-com of choice would have been Clueless, would have come out several years previous to this. That is like, I mean, Clueless for me is like definitely even more comedy. That was just like a well-crafted film for a lot of stuff. So this movie was more neutral. I do have to say, I kind of like it a little more now that I'm older. I think me not being closer to their age, so like when this would have come out, I would have been closer to 18, etc. I think it's better that I'm a more experienced adult. I like Kevin Pollak's character even more, but as noted, I have more respect for Freddie Prinze Jr. I truly feel he was a good actor in this, and I feel, again, story might be limitations, but I liked some of the sweeter moments, I think. I think just like when I was young, I think I was just like kind of jerky when it came to movies. Like,
I was just going to say the same thing. Like, you're a little bit older than I am. So like this movie came out when I would have still been in high school, like months away from graduation. And I was definitely like more of like a too cool for school kind of dick bag. So, which is probably why I didn't watch it. Like, I don't teen rom-com.
And that guys, this is why I really like the sweet ending. That I know it sounds strange, like I keep saying it, but like I really like that it seems more realistic. Like we see the couple leave off. They're embracing. They're kissing. But it really is all that. Like, who knows?
It is all that.
Like, it's all done that.
It's like, yeah, one of the repeating kind of gags through the thing is like, when Taylor breaks up with him, he's like, oh, you thought we were going to be dating through college? How sweet. And then that goes on a couple more times. So
and Matthew Lillard says it's such an a-hole thing. That little
so
like
good,
smirk grin, like, oh, how sweet. Like,
Ugh. But, you know, that's really like the crux of this movie is like at the end, he's like, you know, we don't have to date through college or whatever. We can just enjoy the time we have together.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a pretty adult ending for a high school rom-com.
Yeah, like, I mean, again, like, they're both established as intelligent adult people in a high school where a lot of other people need to grow up. So, yeah, I think, honestly, like, that just for me, like, makes this movie hold up a little more. Again, you know, not that everyone read Pygmalion, but, like, this tale will be told a billion more times in our lifetime and stuff like that. So we'll see this again. They made He's All That. I know Matthew Lillard and Rachael Leigh Cook have cameos as different characters. I think each in it for like a minute or something, from my understanding. But the reviews of the movie are absolutely abysmal. I'll never watch it. Like, they're very below. Like, I did not see anything redeeming about this. But
Same director?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It was like a Netflix original.
Yikes.
Well, next week, I mean, talking about revisiting some movies, we're not far off, a little older. We're coming back at you with 1996's The Cable Guy. And I know Jeremy's not here with us today, but I'm going to give some advice to all of our listeners. And as always, thanks for listening. Jeremy's advice, because we're trying to highlight to Collin and Mike that we like this movie, but it was misrepresentative, misadvertised. And the advertisements often, I think people thought this would be a zany Jim Carrey movie and it's going to be funny. And it is funny, but Jeremy's advice was, and me to note as well, this is a dark comedy. Jeremy's advice is watch it as that. Watch it as the lens of more of a stalker, dark comedy than anything else. Matthew Broderick, I think, is amazing. My sales to Mike on this is there's so many cameos. Bob Odenkirk, super young Jack Black. I mean, such a baby face that you'll see. George Segal plays the father. And the Pollak. He'll be stepping in as the Pollak. But yeah, I really like Cable Guy. This movie is hated, and I feel it is not rightfully so. I'm totally serious about this. So I'm kind of excited to rewatch this.
Yeah, I'm excited to see if I still hate it.
Yeah. Collin, what was your view? Like, when did you see this?
Must have been right around when it came out.
Okay.
And I wasn't really a big like Ace Ventura or just Jim Carrey fan in general. So like expecting the kind of quirky and then not getting that just further took me away from everything that it was supposed to be.
Everyone needs to watch this movie through Matthew Broderick's eyes. Like we need to experience this as we are Matthew Broderick. And the last time we saw Matthew Broderick was Tower Heist, which I loved his role specifically in. I love Matthew Broderick. I think he's a lot of fun. But yeah, we'll see if Mike still hates the Cable Guy. Yeah, as always, Cable Guy.
Cable Guy.
Rabbit Troop sucks.
Rabbit Troop sucks.